Hi everyone, it's Casey. How are you doing today? Today is Wednesday. I'm doing an impromptu video because I wanted to show you what I'm doing as well as give you a couple of announcements. So before I tell you about this doll, let me just tell you about one of the biggest announcements, and that is that I am having my July iChip sale in my shop. So I do this sale annually. It's the only sale I ever do on my iChips, and they are buy one, get one free. That's for resin completed chips, if that makes sense. Etsy doesn't allow for a coupon code for this kind of specific sale. So all you need to do is purchase half of the chips that you want and then let me know what the other half is that you want for free. You can tell me in a message or a conversation on Etsy. And it's the best price on my chips ever. I never put them on sale, so this is the only time they're on sale. It's a great time to stock up. And also, if you didn't know already, I have changed most of my listings to free shipping in my shop, so it also includes free shipping. So it's a great deal. So head on over. I'll put a link below if you're interested in stocking up on some resin iChips. The other announcement I'm going to save for later. The first thing I want to talk about is this doll. So I had a customer ask me last week if I would be willing to put her doll together for her. So she was struggling to get her together and asked if I would try to do it for her. So I've never done this before. I didn't necessarily have a plan in place for this type of work. I do have a service in my shop, a hair cutting service available for $30. So I had her just go ahead and purchase that listing and told her to send me the doll. I would do my best to put it together, and if for some reason I couldn't, then she will get a refund. So if you're interested in having someone help you, or you're struggling to get a doll together, maybe you're not a customizer and you don't plan to be a customizer, you just want to put together a doll, I can help you with that. I probably will create a listing for this type of service very soon. So she sent me her doll, and I knew right away it looks like a Spooky Kids Workshop doll. You might remember from some time back that I also did a Spooky Kids faceplate, and so that artist does a lot of faceplates and not the complete doll. So you can buy the faceplate carved and ready to go, but then you choose the hair, the body, and put the doll together. Seems simple enough, but you know, if you're new to customizing, or even if you're not, it can always, you know, things can always go wrong. So she's super adorable, and so I thought we'd kind of go through this together and see if we can troubleshoot what the problem is here. So this is how I got her. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the back plate off and pull the strings out so those aren't in our way. Looking right off the bat, I can see that the knot on the eye mechanism is potentially on the wrong side. So it should be on the other side. That can cause problems with the mech turning. There are a few people that say that that's not a problem, but I've personally had it be a problem several times for me. So it may or may not solve your eye mechanism problem, but it's a good indication that it could be that. So I am going to take out the mechanism and fix that, put it on the right side. But right now I'm looking for my little tool that I use to get that out. So I have my camera here on my tool basket, and so if I dig in here, it might potentially knock around the camera. So give me 1 second to find that little tool. Okay, so this is a little flathead screwdriver that I believe came with my sewing machine. So I'm going to go ahead and take the scalp off as well, just so that it's not in our way, and we'll put it back on. So this tool works great for just kind of popping the mechanism right out of there. Super easy. And we're going to go ahead and turn the string around on this end. So it can be really helpful to kind of burn the end of your string to stiffen it up. So let's do that. Depending on your string though, if your string is not plastic coated, you could set it on fire, so just be very careful that it's not paper or cardboard. And then we want to go back in that side, the opposite side, and that way the knot will be there. Now, one of the problems with the knot being on that side is sometimes it's visible, so we're going to cut that off pretty short, and then we're going to burn it again, and hopefully it will not come undone. All right, so it might still be a slightly visible, but hopefully not too much. So that looks good, and let's put the mechanism back in. We'll be careful not to smush her eyelashes, so you can kind of insert it down as best you can. If you can't do it and the eyelashes are kind of stuck under there, you can pull them out from the other side. This mechanism feels a little bit loose to me. I don't know. But it looks good. Her eyelashes are out. All right, so let's put our T-bar back on. This is actually the wrong screw for here. So I think there were some screws included in the customer's package. So let's see if the correct one is in there. So it looks like it is. It's that one that has, I don't know if it has a specific name, but it has a larger head on it. And that way it will be sure to stay in better. So when I put the scalp on, I always put the screw in just a few turns so that it stays in, because it's really hard to get your fingers down in there. And then we're going to go ahead and put the scalp back on, and we'll just fit that screw right over the top. We do need to make sure that everything is lined up and there's no hair trapped. So when you turn it over, making sure that there's no hair trapped in there, or at least not large clumps, and that it's flush with the face. And then you're gonna get your screwdriver down in there and finish screwing in that screw. Okay, so the scalp's back on. Now with your strings, if you use thin enough strings, you should be able to get them both through the original hole, which is the best thing to do if possible, because that hole is coated so that the strings will not wear out as quickly. The other openings where people put them through, like right there, the strings are going to wear out faster. So if you can fit both your strings through that coated hole, that's where you want them to go. Sometimes they will, sometimes your strings are too fat, but these ones look like they're gonna make it. So you're gonna pull your strings through tight, make sure they're not twisted on the inside, and then you have your back plate. You don't want to put it all the way on yet, because we're gonna do the body, and this is the body that I was sent to put on for her. So with this head, it depends on the person, but normally I put a clear rubber band around that neck, so I'm going to grab one and we'll do that on this. The rubber band will help keep the neck from being too floppy. So these tilt necks are nice, but occasionally they're just a little too much and the head is too floppy to hold a pose. So we're going to go ahead, and the trickiest part is kind of holding the body and getting everything lined up in the right place. But it looks like she's snapping together pretty quickly. There we go. Now we're gonna go ahead and put her screws in so that she's safely put together. Screws are something I always forget to put in. Well, a lot of times I forget because the first time I put the doll together, I'm not always sure that she's going to stay that way. And then I will forget easily. So let's get all of her screws in. They look like they're all the same size. Usually the one that goes up here is a little bit smaller, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, and the other thing which I didn't do, which we probably should have done, is before you put your screws in, I would check that the eye mechanism works. So we've already done the screws, but let's check, and that's the only reason why we might really have to take her apart again. And part of that could be, so it does feel as if it's not turning correctly, and so this could be, yeah, so maybe that's part of the problem that the customer was having. So let's take her back apart. I felt like something was weird with the mechanism. So a couple things that could be, the T-bar could be cut too short. I don't know if she did trim it. I didn't look very closely at it. So let's take a look. So it looks to me like something is not Let's grab a new eye mechanism and put it in and see if that's the issue. One of the nice things about owning a Blythe supply shop is I have lots of extras to go ahead and troubleshoot what the problem is. So when I look at these two mechanisms, and I'm not sure where this mechanism came from, if she got it from me or from someone else, but just looking at it, this bar seems way larger than this one. So let's take it out again and try this replacement one and see if it works. If it works, then the issue might be the mechanism itself, or trying to figure out why it's sticking out so much farther than the other one, because it feels very loose to me, and I felt that when I opened her. So we gotta take the T-bar out first. The T-bar does look trimmed, but it doesn't look like it was trimmed extremely or anything. All right, so let's take that out. And we will give this one a try. So we do need a string for up here. So let me grab one. I'm gonna go ahead and use black like she did in case we end up needing to use this. Okay, because this string is really short, but it should be fine for testing purposes. So let's put her all back together and try and pull this one through and just see what it's like when the doll's all together. So I'm not going to worry about putting them in the right holes for right now because that white string is pretty thick and I really just want to test it at this point. So we won't put any back screws in. Let's just give it a a whirl here first. And ta-da! Well, that first one, yep. So these are turning. So it would appear something is wrong with her mechanism. Although I would say it's not turning really well, and now this one is stuck. So let's see, maybe it is the T-bar. Doesn't look like it to me. But I also have extra T-bars, so let's change that and see if it works a little bit better. It would be nice if it's just the T-bar, then we don't have to replace the whole mechanism. The issue with the T-bar is the measurement between too short and just right is so small. So you can see this is how much it's been cut, which again, to me doesn't look like much, but it could be just right over the edge where it's just a tiny bit too much. So let's try a brand new one that hasn't been trimmed at all and see if that works. Seems like it's stuck on that. So it's not the T-bar, because that's also not working. Let's see if we can roll them by hand, because they also don't seem to want to roll by hand. So let's look again if we can see from inside what's happening. That one. So what is going on with that one? Why that one? It's this area. It's this area of the mechanism. And it's just not wanting to turn over right there. I'm not seeing something immediately wrong with it, so I'm going to go ahead and take it apart and kind of look at it a little more carefully and see if I can figure out what's going on, if something has been modified. So let me take a closer look, and I will get back on when I discover what the problem is. So I'm back. It's been a couple of days. I'm still struggling with how to fix this customer's issue. So a couple of things I have done is really tried to figure out what's going on with the mechanism, and I found what I think is the problem with this one. This bar, the reason why it was out of shape, as I showed you earlier in the video, is as it's being pulled, the part here is shifting and not staying in place and getting bent out of shape. So the other mechanism has something going on with this part where it's slipping and it's not hitting that edge, and I did do some troubleshooting thoughts with that and it didn't work. So I'm back with the original mechanism that the customer sent, and what I'm going to try is glue that in place. But the only glue I had was the super glue in gel, and I've mentioned in previous videos that I cannot get the gel to dry. So I went and got some of the super glue that I like, which is the liquid, and it's fast bonding. This super glue basically dries instantly. The other super glue takes overnight, and then it doesn't even seem to hold like this glue does. But you have to be really careful with this one because it dries really quickly. If you don't get it where you want it, you could mess it up. Don't get it on your fingers. It's also liquid, so you want to be really careful how much you use because it can drip and run, and this will ruin pretty much everything. It ruins plastic, it ruins eye chips, so you have to be really, really careful. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to glue this piece, and hopefully it will dry really quickly and we'll be able to see if it worked or not. At this point, if this doesn't work or I can't figure out how to fix this mechanism, we're going to have to switch it out. I did find a mechanism that is working in my supplies, but I don't want to, so the customer has already painted the eyelids and put the eye chips in. I don't want to have to redo the eyelids and remove all her eye chips. So I'm hoping that this is going to work. So let's give it a try. Let's put some glue on there and we'll give it a few seconds to dry, and then we'll come back and see if that helps. I'm just trying to put a little tiny bit of glue in there and let it kind of run down in there. But you can see that the mechanism is still moving, so hopefully that's going to bond really quickly and stay where it's at. I don't know if the pressure of pulling it is going to break it. This glue normally is pretty strong, but it's a lot of pressure pulling on those strings, so it may or may not work here. So let's give it a second to dry and we'll try again. Alright, so I don't know what it is, but me and super glue are not getting along. It took way longer than I said, and way longer than it has taken in the past for this super glue to dry. It wasn't as long as the gel, and I'm still worried that it might not be perfectly dried, but we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. It's been a couple hours since I glued it and it was not instant. So I'm going to go ahead and put the iMech back in and we will see what happens at this point. I'm trying to be gentle with the eyelashes. One has already fallen off, so I'm probably going to either replace the lashes or try to fix these. I didn't think this was going to be such a big process, but I'm glad because it gives us a chance to learn. And I also didn't expect this video to turn into an iMech issue video, which, as you know, I've been planning on doing, but I guess it kind of is, so we're giving it a shot. So let's pull that. Seems to be working all the way around. So let's pray that that is all we needed to do, was glue that piece in place. So let's put her back together and make sure she's working with everything. All right, let's give her a try while she's back together. Hooray! All of her eyes look like they're changing. Doesn't feel as clicking loud like normally, but they're changing just fine. That one is a little wonky, but it's not getting stuck. I hope I didn't speak too soon. Oh, there we go. All right, so let's get her screws in and get her ready to go back home. So we're gonna have to put back in a pair of lashes, the ones that fell off, so let's do that. And then she should be good to go. I'm probably gonna hang on to her a day before I send her back to her mom, just so that I can check again tomorrow and make sure that the eyes are still working, because they do feel a little bit not like this pair doesn't want to click, so her mom might have to help a couple of the eyes turn, but they are definitely turning now, so that's wonderful. These eyelashes are getting stuck under there. So let's put her lashes that fell off back on. We might see if we can find something for her to go home in. I have this thing about naked dolls. They always look cold to me, so I don't like it, but we'll see what I have that might be extra. Lashes are my least favorite part, so if you hate doing lashes, I don't blame you, and I hope that I'll be able to film this without having to turn a light on or get closer. So the first thing that I do is get the lash on there, and it looks like maybe some of the original lashes are still kind of down in there, so I recommend soaking the eye mechanism for quite a long time to get the original lashes out, because then you can push your new ones down in there. If you leave a bunch of residue, you can't get them down in there, and they stay better when they're down in there. I use just regular Elmer's glue because you don't need a lot, you just need a little bit. And the good thing about Elmer's glue is if you get it on the eye like I just did, it comes off very easily. You can just wipe it with your finger. So anytime I can use a glue that is easy to clean up and the least amount of permanence, I do, because then any mistakes are easily fixed. So I'm just going to add a little glue here in the corners, and hopefully that's enough. There we go. Okay, let's let that dry and see if we can find something for her to wear. I don't really want to put just a shirt on her, and I don't have any extra underwear, so I think I'm going to put this extra swimsuit I have. So the other thing I wanted to show you guys, is this monster suit that I made for my most recent custom Blythe doll. The purpose was because the pattern for this suit is going to be available as the entry gift on Blythe versus Blythe 6. So the 6th event, Blythe versus Blythe 6, is coming up in August, and I talk about it a lot on my channel, but if you're new and you don't know what it is, it's an online event. It's sort of like a Blythe convention online for the entire month, and the next one's in August. Every member receives an entry gift because you do have to pay to join, but there is always an entry gift, so every single member gets something, as well as the entire month of fun, live demos, prizes, games, all kinds of things. So I made and designed this pattern for this monster suit, and it's going to be one of the entry gift options. The other is going to be some monstery eye chips to print and make at home. It's going to be a PDF download. So I am just about to list this pattern in my shop. So when you buy the pattern, you'll be automatically added to Blythe versus Blythe 6. The pattern will not come with instructions. It's just the pattern pieces, and then there will be a live demo on the group with instructions on how to make it, and that demo is saved to the group the entire month of August. So anytime that you join, you have access to that. So I hope you'll think about joining. It's a lot of fun. This, as I said, is our 6th event. It's been going on a couple years now, and it continues to grow bigger and bigger, and there's a lot of fun. So if you think this is cute and you would like to make one, check it out in my Etsy shop, and check out the group Blythe versus Blythe. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this video. And again, if you need help repairing or troubleshooting your doll, let me know. I am going to create a service listing for this kind of troubleshooting eye chip or eye mechanism issues. And I hope you'll think of me if you need help. So thanks as always for watching. See you all next week. Bye bye.